Welcome into another edition of OnSide. I'm Kaylyn, alongside Andres Cordero. Now, our set looks a little bit different. We're not on our couches, we're not in sweatpants on the bottom, we're actually in jeans. And I can finally ask you, how are you, Dre?
I'm doing great because this is not a virtual set in the background like we did on some of these Zoom calls. We're actually live in the stadium. It's nice to be in the same sort of physical space, still social distancing, still taking good care of ourselves. But this is going to be fun. We have a very, very good guest today. Maybe the person to speak to about this Orlando tournament.
Yeah, exactly. So let's welcome in our guest, Diego Alonso. Welcome. Hola, ¿cómo estás? My Spanish is absolutely terrible. So I'm going to hand this over to you, Dre. You take the reins on this one. I'm just going to sit here and listen and pretend like I know what's going on.
It's coming along nicely. Let me handle this one. Hola, profe. Mucho gusto. Gracias por acompañarnos. Solo quería saber, porque ha pasado bastante tiempo, 4 meses desde el último partido. ¿Cómo está el equipo? ¿Cuál es la ilusión? ¿Cuál es el objetivo para este torneo en Orlando?
Bueno, en primer lugar, un gusto saludarlos, estar con ustedes compartiendo esta entrevista y a través de ustedes compartirla también con todos los fanáticos nuestros. El equipo está muy ilusionado con lo que viene, con la preparación del torneo de Orlando. Realmente estamos muy expectantes de volver a competir, de poder volver a estar en un campo jugando por los puntos, así que bueno, hacía muy larga la espera, han sido 3 meses y algo más de espera para poder competir, pero estamos muy ilusionados de volver a repetir con este retorno.
Es un torneo bastante diferente, ¿no? Un formato diferente, más parecido a torneo de selecciones que torneo de clubes. ¿Cómo se prepara este tipo de campeonato, sabiendo que no es algo habitual y que es un equipo y un proyecto nuevo, que por ahí la pretemporada fue bastante corta inicialmente y te da esto más tiempo para conocer al equipo, conocer a los jugadores? ¿Cómo has preparado el torneo de Orlando?
Bueno, sin duda que nosotros hemos tenido 6 semanas previo al inicio de la temporada regular para preparar el equipo, un equipo nuevo en expansión, con un entrenador nuevo, con jugadores nuevos también que se tenían que conocer entre sí, y la adaptación venía en alza, los chicos venían haciéndolo cada vez mejor y este parón lógicamente nos perjudicó a todos, no ha dado un tiempo más para poder entrenar, eso sí es verdad, pero no nos ha dado la posibilidad de competir ni de jugar amistosos, que es lo que también te prepara de mejor manera y es lo que hace también cuando uno juega partidos, saber realmente cuáles son los puntos a corregir y cuáles son los puntos a mejorar de cara al futuro. Igualmente creo que lo tomamos esta oportunidad que tenemos en Orlando para poder observar mejor, para poder seguir de cerca el accionar de los jugadores, para empezar a tomar mejores decisiones en adelante para poder tener el mejor equipo o el equipo más competitivo posible.
Bueno, a eso iba un poco, porque el hecho de no tener los partidos para ir corrigiendo cosas, matices y tal, se enfoca más en el punto físico, igual como por ejemplo en una pretemporada, al principio de la temporada, estar más listo, preparado físicamente para afrontar partidos en corto tiempo, o sí te ha dado oportunidad de trabajar un poco la táctica, el sistema, el estilo de juego.
Bueno, lo que pasa es que depende de los estilos de los entrenadores y las preparaciones. Nosotros, yo creo fervientemente en que yo no preparo jugadores, no preparo atletas, preparo jugadores de fútbol. Entonces, muchas veces uno puede tener un jugador que esté bien físicamente, pero no futbolísticamente. Y me expreso y lo analizo así rápidamente. Es que cuando uno puede tener a alguien que esté corriendo y haciendo pasadas y haciendo gimnasio, pero si no tiene fuerza específica, si no tiene resistencia específica, si no tiene la situaciones específicas de campo, es muy difícil preparar a alguien. Nosotros nos preparamos para jugar, no para correr. Y siempre digo lo mismo, nunca había un pianista que caliente corriendo alrededor del piano, ¿no? Es decir, hace ejercicio de calentamiento en sus manos, en sus dedos, y se prepara mentalmente y motrizmente para poder tocar el piano. Los jugadores de fútbol es exactamente igual. Claro que sí, que a veces hay que hacer algún esfuerzo físico extra para poder acentuar y mejorar, pero nosotros nos preparamos en el campo. Entonces, durante mucho tiempo hemos estado limitados a la hora de poder entrenar como a nosotros nos gusta, y hoy en día sí lo podemos hacer sin la posibilidad de jugar amistosos, pero bueno, arranca el torneo y lo vamos a tomar como con esa posibilidad de poder jugar, de poder ver a los jugadores, de tener ese ánimo de de poder ir hacia adelante y con mucho optimismo siempre viendo hacia el futuro.
Ha pasado tanto tiempo, profe, que uno siente un poco como que fue otra temporada esos primeros 2 partidos contra LAFC y DC United, pero sí vimos un cambio de sistema entre el primero y el segundo. ¿Eso se debía más a estar buscando la fórmula para el equipo y para los jugadores que tienes, o tenía más que ver con los rivales y en qué manera se podía aprovechar algunas ventajas?
Yo creo que tiene que ver con las dos, ¿no? Tiene que ver con buscar algo que nos sienta más cómodo, con los movimientos de los jugadores, entenderlo, lo que dije antes, ¿no? Yo creo que a partir del partido 10 más o menos es lo que tenía calculado yo, partido 8, 9, 10, después de haber jugado esa cantidad de partidos uno iba a tener mucho más claro el comportamiento de los jugadores y qué sistema podía entrar mejor de acuerdo a las características de todo y cada uno de los jugadores, porque los jugadores en definitiva, voy a lo que dije antes, ¿no? Los jugadores también siendo jugadores de fútbol y el día del partido, el día de la competencia, rinden mejor o rinden peor, entonces uno los tiene que conocer. Y creo que también el cambio tiene que ver con nosotros, con poder mover y seguir viendo jugadores, y también tiene que ver no con el rival, sino con nosotros mismos, que nos podemos adaptar mejor a un determinado sistema con el que jugamos en contra y que le podemos hacer más daño y lo podemos contrarrestar. Tiene que ver con las dos, ¿no? Con el funcionamiento nuestro y con la característica de nuestros jugadores y con lo que demanda el partido. Yo no creo en los sistemas de juego, te soy sincero, no siento que todos los sistemas son buenos. Lo más importante es lo que uno hace con los sistemas, ¿no? Uno lo descomponga. Si podés jugar 4-3, pero si los extremos son laterales, no va a ser ofensivo. Y puedes jugar con línea de 5, por decir algo, defensivamente, pero si tus dos carrileros son, en este caso, Morgan y Pellegrini, seguramente sea mucho más ofensivo. Entonces tiene que ver con cómo uno descomponga el sistema y no como con el número telefónico que se dice habitualmente con el que uno para el equipo.
Claro, esa diferencia entre sistema y estilo. Entonces, ¿cuál es el estilo que quiere Diego Alonso para su equipo?
El estilo para mí es muy claro, siempre el de proponer, el de ir a buscar los partidos, el de ganar. Hay cosas con las cuales yo no transo, no negocio, que es la intensidad de mi equipo, que es la presión. Difícilmente un equipo mío no presione fuerte, difícilmente, y que no intente ganar el partido desde el minuto 1. Después cada uno tiene sus armas y debe conocer sus argumentos y cuáles son las armas. Y bueno, somos mejores contragolpeando, somos mejores llevando el peso del partido con el balón. Si me preguntas a mí me encanta llevar el peso del partido permanentemente, pero eso también depende de las cualidades que tienen cada uno de los jugadores para poder llevarlo a cabo.
Claro, y regresando un poco al torneo en Orlando, hablamos un poco de la preparación, ¿no? Pero esto va partido a partido como si fuese partido de liga, considerando que los 3 puntos en esta fase de grupos va a contar para una temporada regular después de Orlando, o se tiene que tener un plan más amplio estilo a lo mundial, ¿no? Pensando en todo el grupo, en los 3 rivales y en el espacio y tiempo entre partidos.
Nosotros lo que tenemos que ir a buscar son puntos en los primeros partidos y que nos den la posibilidad de poco a poco ir sumando y que nos acerquen poco a poco al objetivo final, que tiene que ser estar en playoff. Así que lo tomaremos de esa manera y ojalá una vez sumados los puntos podamos pasar de fase, que es lo que queremos, para poder pelear por el título en Orlando. Pero lo más importante para nosotros en este momento es buscar la posibilidad de sumar puntos, de ganar puntos que hasta el momento no hemos podido conseguir, más allá de que los merecimientos que tuvimos en los 2 partidos que jugamos, tenemos la necesidad de poco a poco ir alcanzando pequeñas metas que nos den confianza y que nos hagan ir mejorando día a día.
En ese sentido, el Inter Miami abre el campeonato contra el anfitrión, contra Orlando. ¿Qué opinas de este rival, de la oportunidad de jugar el primer partido, sabiendo que todos los ojos del fútbol en este país van a estar enfocados en ese partido y en tu equipo?
Y nos llena de felicidad de jugar un primer partido contra Orlando, sobre todas las cosas, por ser el primer partido dando la apertura al torneo, donde sabemos que todo el mundo va a estar pendiente por la posibilidad de la MLS que regrese y además lo que significa el Inter de Miami a nivel mundial hoy, ¿no? Es decir, tenemos los ojos puestos encima de nosotros y lo sabemos, las expectativas que hemos levantado y sabemos también que nuestros fanáticos van a estar detrás y que debemos cumplir con ellos. Así que intentaremos dar nuestro mejor esfuerzo. Sabemos que el objetivo es ganar y que siempre, tú me hablabas antes del estilo, todo el tiempo el estilo y todo tiene que ver con ganar. La mentalidad, todo tiene que ver con ganar y sobre todas las cosas el dar, para nosotros muchas veces el ganar también es dar el 100% de nuestro esfuerzo, es ganarnos a nosotros mismos y dar lo mejor que tenemos.
Profe, la verdad que queremos tocar varios otros puntos, especialmente sobre la actual plantilla, algunos jugadores. ¿Te quedas con nosotros un momentico más para seguir conversando?
Claro que sí.
Bueno, buenísimo. Let's take a quick break, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to wait for the subtitles on this one, but I sat here. It sounded very, very good. But don't go anywhere because we have Diego Alonso coming back to talk about team signings.
Feels good. I'm excited to be here. Like I said, it's nothing can take away the first year. This is the first year of the club. I'll always be a part of that. I'm excited to be a part of that. I think versatility. I can play in a couple positions. I just want to bring that in and a smile and hopefully get some points.
Welcome back into OnSide. Now we have a very special guest that we just heard from, Diego Alonso, and we want to put him a little bit on the hot seat, but we also want to ask him about some important team signings. So I want to start off with Breck Shea.
Claro, se anunció ya la contratación de Breck Shea, jugador que estaba entrenando, profe, con el equipo de la USL, pero ahora forma parte de la primera plantilla. ¿Qué trae Breck Shea? Sabemos que es un jugador que puede jugar en varias posiciones. ¿Qué buscas sacar de este jugador nuevo?
Y lo que hemos buscado con la incorporación de él es que nos dé la posibilidad de tener un jugador más de banda que nos hacía falta, darle profundidad al plantel, tener más opciones y como tú bien dijiste, es un jugador que puede llegar a ser polifuncional, puede jugar de extremo, carrilero, lateral, entonces nos da esa oportunidad y la intención es poder ampliar la profundidad y sobre todo en ese sector donde teníamos pocos jugadores de esas características.
Lleva ya varios días entrenando con el equipo el central Leandro González Pires, un jugador que la MLS conoce muy bien, un campeón de la liga. Háblame un poco de sus calidades, de qué trae este central, este defensor al equipo actual.
Bueno, en cuanto a las características, creo que son públicamente conocidas. Es un futbolista de una jerarquía muy grande, con una experiencia también muy grande en el exterior, ya sea en Argentina, en México, aquí en MLS, conoce la liga y nos va a ayudar muchísimo a ser un mejor equipo, sobre todo en la zona defensiva y en el inicio del ataque, porque tiene muy buena salida de balón y nos va a ayudar a construir el juego, que lo que hablaba anteriormente, ¿no? El dominar los partidos a través del balón, él nos va a ayudar a poder ser un mejor equipo.
Y uno que no es necesariamente nuevo, no estrictamente nuevo, pero no ha debutado todavía, Julián Carranza, un delantero joven que ha venido del Danfield, que tiene mucha promesa, pero que todavía no hemos podido verlo en partidos de competición con el Inter Miami, o sea, se siente como un fichaje nuevo. ¿Qué podemos esperar de Julián Carranza?
Y Julián es un chico que ha venido trabajando fuerte, buscando su recuperación después de una lesión que ha tenido en pretemporada, que lo ha tenido prácticamente 2 meses y medio fuera y por suerte ya está listo para poder competir y ojalá poco a poco podamos ir viendo sus capacidades y sus ganas de poder mostrarle al fanático de lo que es capaz.
Y por último, profe, ¿qué se le podría añadir todavía? Sabemos que queda ese DP slot dentro de la plantilla, pero se ha hablado en el pasado de mediocentros, de centrales, de delanteros de jerarquía. En la opinión suya, ¿qué se le puede agregar a la estructura de este equipo actual?
No, yo creo que tenemos la posibilidad de tener el espacio y seguro aprovechemos, pero creo que no es oportuno expresarme en esta situación sobre qué es lo que estamos, porque no me gustaría hacerlo. Simplemente decir que estoy muy contento con los jugadores que tengo y estoy muy contento con el trabajo que estamos haciendo
Lo entiendo. Realmente...
y con los directivos para poder llegar a conseguir grandes futbolistas que nos ayuden a hacer un gran equipo.
Vale, bueno, muchísimas gracias, profe Diego Alonso, técnico de Inter Miami, por este tiempo, por la charla, y espero que pronto podremos hablar cara a cara sobre este equipo.
Thank you so much, Diego Alonso. We wish you the best of luck in Orlando moving forward. But don't go anywhere, because when we come back after break, we have Dr. Selznick from Baptiste Health joining us.
This project is not only going to be an exciting project in Major League Soccer, but globally.
I looked out and I thought, wow, this needs to be built really quick.
Nunca cumplimos los sueños, los superamos, así que iremos en búsqueda de eso.
The guys are hungry, they're humble, they work hard, and the culture is being built one step at a time.
We've always said from day one that it's a family. That's the way we run this club.
We've made a decision as a league that play will be suspended, so Inter Miami will not be playing its home opener this Saturday on March 14th.
Welcome back to OnSide. Now, our next guest, Dre, is no joke. His resume speaks for itself. He is known as South Florida's guru of professional sports. He's worked with the who's who for sports medicine. He's absolutely amazing, and we definitely need to get him on our happy hour to have a glass of wine or beer with him, because he just seems like such a cool dude. So without further ado, welcome Dr. Selznick to OnSide.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be on your show, and I'm really excited to work with Inter Miami. I think it's going to be a great relationship with Baptiste Health, Inter Miami, and we're going to try and give the players and the coaches the best care that we can.
Dr. Selznick, I'm wondering, with the amount of time that players have been off, now coming back into sort of a short tournament that's more of like a World Cup style format than regular league. Sometimes you'll have 5 days between a game, sometimes you'll have significantly less, especially if they go into the knockout stages. What sort of muscle problems could arise, and how do you prepare players physically for that sort of commitment after a layoff that is in some ways longer than the off season?
You're absolutely right, because even in the off season, after a season ends, guys may take a few weeks off to kind of recharge their batteries, and then they start working out pretty regularly. They're in the gym, they're running, they're at the beach, whatever it is. During the pandemic, people were pretty much shut out at home and didn't even have a lot of the available weight training and treadmills and ellipticals and other things that they're really used to using, let alone running out on the field. So our biggest concern, besides the COVID, is injuries. Now, they did start individual workouts initially. Now there's been group workouts with the team. That's been helpful for the last couple weeks. They'll have and then they really go into playing. I think there's been some changes in terms of substitutions that may help a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, guys are really going to have to stay hydrated. Playing in South Florida is something that's difficult for our guys, but at least they've been training. For a lot of the other teams, this is going to be a real shock to go out there and try and play game after game. So proper warm-up, stretching, conditioning, those are the things we really want to stress, and as well as hydration, proper eating, and getting a good amount of rest. Hopefully that will decrease the risk of injuries.
All right, doctor, I want to ask you a question. As a former player, to trust a doctor, to trust with injuries, to trust that you're making the right decision, it really comes down to understanding one another as a player to a doctor, whether it's injury or following proper protocols. So for someone like yourself that has literally done it all, how do you gain that trust with players where you haven't maybe been able to spend the amount of time that you have in the past with players?
That's a great question. Having dealt with other teams, as you know, and I've been with the Heat for over 30 years, a lot of the trust comes from other players having trusted you, getting good results and being happy, and they're the ones to talk to the current players. So that you don't have when you have a new franchise where no one really knows you. I hope that the players know between Baptist Health and what I've tried to do, that they're really trying to get the best care that we can possibly give. Listening to the players, everyone has their own concerns. Some people are very nervous about returning to play after injury. Some people want to come back too fast. So it's talking, trying to gain their trust, and hopefully over time, as they see our players doing well, hopefully decreasing our injury rates, guys that do need surgery coming back and returning to the field, that's how you'll gain their trust.
Doctor, I do have just one sort of COVID-related question, and that is we're seeing younger, healthier people contract COVID-19, test positive for COVID-19. We assume, and we know that players are at peak physical condition, they're training every day, it's their job to be in excellent shape, and yet it is still a very dangerous virus for players who are young and who are fit. Why is it that it doesn't really seem to discriminate that much when it comes to whether someone's very young or, as was originally thought, just, grandparents and parents?
Well, anyone can catch the virus. It's contagious, just like anyone can catch a cold. Now, different viruses can do different things to people based on their age, as well as their overall health, underlying comorbidities and stuff like that. In terms of athletes, most people in their 20s, early 30s, they may get sick, but very few are really going to have a devastating illness. But we worry about those very few. The other thing is that if someone does get the COVID, they're not allowed just to go back to play as soon as they feel better. There's a whole protocol in terms of testing, even cardiac testing, as some people with COVID can actually undergo some changes in their cardiac function. So they'll get cardiac screening, echocardiograms, EKGs, and blood work before they're even allowed to go back and play. So your question is an excellent one. Fortunately, most of the younger people are going to get better. Our worry, of course, is them spreading it to other family members, children, and parents and grandparents. And as you said, grandparents are at the greatest risk.
I just have a quick question for you regarding COVID. I didn't want to touch on it too much because we are back in our stadium and, we're going into tournament phase. But, a doctor like yourself, what is your number one rule with these players? As a lot of these players, the world, we haven't gone through something like this. So what's your one bit of advice to these players to stay healthy, to not contain or contract this virus?
All our players have had education. They've been talked to by Dr. Richard Levine, who's our infectious disease specialist, Dr. Rodriguez, who's our primary care specialist, and the trainers have had a great rapport in terms of educating them. MLS has actually sent out literature for all the guys to read and be taught in English, Spanish, and I think at least one or two other languages. So the advice really is the same as everyone else: is try and social distance, try and stay at home as much as you can, not be around other people. Wear your mask, wash your hands, do all the things that you can to limit the risk to yourself and, of course, your teammates and your coaches.
Well, Dr. Selznick, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We need to get you back on for an episode of our happy hour where we get to crack a cold one, have a glass of vino. I feel like you would fit in perfectly with me and Dre on those couches. But again, thank you for your time, and we can't wait to meet you in person someday.
I look forward to that, and I definitely will come and have a glass of wine or beer or whatever you guys want on your show. But thank you very much, and we're really looking forward to a great partnership with Baptist Health, Inter Miami, and a happy and healthy year for our players, our management, and hopefully the community soon. Thank you very much.
Well, don't go anywhere because we have another guest. We have loads of guests on the show today, but it is our brand and marketing VP of Inter Miami, Mike Ridley, joining us for Happy Hour.
Muy bien, aquí estamos de regreso para hacer este resumen de lo que ocurrió ahí en estos increíbles 3 partidos de este E-Friendly Game, donde Julián Carranza del Inter Miami derrotó 3-1 con su equipo Francia a Bélgica, a Richarlison en el primer juego. Después la Juve ganó 5-0 al Everton, a los Toffees, pero en el último partido Brasil le ganó 1-0 a Argentina, con lo cual todos nos vamos contentos. Julián Carranza se va contento porque ganó 2 de 3. Richie ganó el partido entre la selección de Brasil y Argentina, también se va contento y todos nos vamos felices. Mi querido Richie, ¿cómo te pareció este evento? ¿Você had a good time? ¿Tuvo un buen momento con nosotros?
Sim, um bom momento. Um grande jogador está jogando aí. Joga muito bem, então levei uma goleada aí, mas no final também eu ganhei aí da Argentina e isso que valeu aí. O que importa é a felicidade.
Se te levantó el espíritu.
Sim. Agora eu fiquei mais feliz. Eu achei que eu ia ficar triste, mas no final da partida deu tudo certo.
Welcome back into OnSide to, well, it used to be my favorite, Happy Hour. I can't drink anymore because I'm pregnant, so you guys get to. But I want to welcome you in before we take a sip of our glasses of vino and my lovely glass of crisp cold water. Mike Ridley, welcome to Happy Hour.
Thank you very much. I feel like I've made it now. You know, it's the pinnacle of my career to be here with you both. So thanks for having me.
Let's just keep talking. I'm still reaching across.
Okay, well, while we're choosing VP of Brand and Marketing for Inter Miami. So
thank you very much. Cheers. Lovely.
I'm so boring at the moment. I can't wait till December when I can actually have a glass of wine.
Yeah, not to make you feel bad, but that's delightful.
Is it delightful?
Yeah. Lovely.
And this gorgeous day. I mean, look at our view today for Happy Hour. A little bit better.
You don't know what you're missing.
No, okay. Anyways, everyone's rubbing it in. So let's just dive straight into it so I can wrap this up so I don't have to watch you guys drinking red wine anymore.
Fair enough.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, my name's Mike, as you've introduced me. I'm from the Cayman Islands, sort of meandering road, but through London, Boston, Los Angeles, New York, and finally Miami, where I'd always wanted to live. I love this place. So I'm near enough my parents, but I've got enough distance too. You know, it's an hour flight at least.
I hope
so
they don't watch this.
They do. My mother will be really proud. So no, Miami is a dream to be here and to be part of this club. Absolutely phenomenal.
And so explain it like I'm 5. What is your role at the club?
So VP Brand and Marketing, I'm the custodian, I guess, of the brand. There's a large team that helps. So, you know, I'm looking over making sure we're hitting the brand guidelines, guiding the marketing and the messaging, you know, overseeing the merchandise and making sure it's all holistic and there's one story that people are getting from the brand. You know, one of the things we've talked about is being, as a brand, the right amount of rogue. And by doing that, we can capture people's emotions and capture their attention. So we're not trying to do anything to annoy anybody, but we're doing stuff just a little bit differently, you know?
So quick follow-up, and what are you doing to make me a star?
Well, I mean, to make... Well,
I love it.
Here's the thing, you need an agent for that. You need an agent, but no, I think...
let me take that another way. So I was recently on MLS Live show on Twitter with Kaylyn, former Houston Dynamo player, and he was wearing an Inter Miami baseball cap that just has the M on it with the 2 herons, and it just... You look at the merch, you look at the color scheme for the team, you look at the people associated with it, there's a coolness factor about the team that must give you guys just a ton of material to work with.
Yeah, I think we're extremely fortunate. We're working off an incredible platform, and the color scheme gives something, and it's just baked out the very DNA of South Florida, which also, people are drawn to South Florida. I think naturally it's the palm trees, there's a sexiness to it, there's also just kind of like a coolness to living here, and that helps, and that's in the brand's DNA. And there are different layers, like the M is very much reserved for a sort of premium look, you know, and that's a credit to the design team that came up with the logo. You know, I'm someone that responds to stuff. I can't take credit for being the person in there in Photoshop, but it certainly is a platform that makes it easier to play on, yeah.
So can you talk us through about the slogan? Your football is here, and now it's changed to your football is live. So talk us a little bit through that.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, there's people been waiting, right? We've been waiting a long time for this opportunity to have football, and that's something we can really own. Only South Florida, Inter Miami, CF can own football, right? So that was a word we're like, we own that, let's pop that in a different color. And it was coming right at the Super Bowl, so that was the fun thing. We had an enemy to push against, which was American football. So it was 2020 is a great year for football, but scratch that with football. And finally, the payoff, your football is here. Yeah. Now, we were hurtling towards an opening game, and it was all going very well, and then we were stopped in our tracks. But, you know, as we've gone through this process, we did pivot. Obviously, you saw a lot of the community efforts the club has done, partnered with David Guetta, the separation of the logo for physical distancing, which was key.
And loads of people followed that trend, by the way.
Yeah.
Loads of sporting teams. You guys were, I believe, the first ones to start.
Yeah, we were
and then it was like global.
Yeah, we were the first sporting team to do it, and that's credit to Chris Allen. And again, that's an example where something's come and we've responded to it, saying, oh, this is a great idea, we've got to go with this. And Adidas, Boston Red Sox, English Football Association. So we've been doing fun stuff all the way through. And then, you know, everybody was excited about football coming back. I mean, there's no denying that. I mean, I was up and down, you know, buying more jerseys and more Inter Miami gear. But the temptation is to go, football is back. And we knew MLS is back, and they had very much put a flag in it. And we were sitting there with the team, was looking at it, it was like, well, it is back, but it's not back. Actually, it's different. So let's take a slightly different approach, as that it's live, right? And there's an excitement about being live. And if you look at the graphic treatment which Ted and Kevin did, it's evoking this kind of pent-up excitement, frustration, you know, with the Pizarro, with each of the players, Alonso, everyone's like screaming excitement, and the treatment with kind of bringing in the electric pink pops color is meant to evoke what we're all feeling from it. But your football isn't here. When we're here, your football is here. Yeah. Your football is live. And so that's what we've done, and we're really leaning into it. And I'm excited to see the content that comes out of the tournament as well.
Sorry, I just want to jump in on one thing.
Of course.
All right, so you have an absurd amount of jerseys. So I want to ask you, other than my jersey being your favorite.
Number one.
Yes, number one, of course. Which comes second?
Well, the Inter Miami collection,
okay,
actually.
After that.
I think, honestly, Arsenal away kit 1992, the Bruised Banana by Adidas, which they then recreated this past season in an evolved version of the Bruised Banana. I like those two. I like the Dutch shirt from 1988. I really liked Colombia's one from the last World Cup, the 2018, because those throwback. I get drawn to ones which kind of are odes to older jerseys that I knew growing up, and that's kind of in the evolution of jerseys. Although I will give Nigeria credit, and again in the 2018, that awesome one they did, but that was an ode to the 1994 jersey. So again, I look for those details and storytellings in jersey. But, you know, I tend to just buy way too many. My wife buys shoes, I buy jerseys.
Do you want to see the baggy jersey come back? Because I, for example, have like a 1990 something like Leche jersey, and it's a large, just like all of my other jerseys, but that one seems like 2 sizes too big. Are you a fan of this like new, like Puma, for example? I mean, not name brands, but like the modern jerseys, they're skin tight. I personally can't wear them, but the baggy one that makes me look like I'm actually in some kind of shape.
Yeah, I think I would go that route too, because my body fat's a little higher than a professional athlete that these are made for, so I think it's fair enough. I tend to go a size up, perhaps, let's put it that way, just so when you buy the authentic jersey, and I have bought all of them, the home and away, I go a size up in those, because I, you know, shockingly, am not a professional athlete.
Right, but I'm the only one here in this happy hour that does not have a senior international cap. So tell me about that. We know, obviously, Olympic bronze medalist with Canada.
Yeah, I think her.
Tell me about your international football.
Well, it's not quite as impressive, I'll tell you that. I don't have any medals.
Come on now.
I tell you what, I'll swap one of my jerseys for your bronze medal. I'll swap one of my.
I don't even think you want my bronze medal. The amount of crap that went through after, I mean, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this on air, but like taking shots off of it. It was at parties that probably shouldn't have been at. I don't even know if you want it. Like the neck on it is like tethered. It's like real. I didn't take great care of it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that does actually. I'm afraid that adds a lot of value. So we'll discuss which. Okay. Yeah. So I think. Sorry, where was I? What were you asking?
You're not getting out of this. You do have.
Yeah. The Cayman Islands. Yeah. I have represented the Cayman Islands at full international level. My debut was against Jamaica. And we'll probably leave it there because the result wasn't great. We lost 6-0. I came on in the 70th minute. No, it was great. It was really fun. I played a few times for Cayman in my younger years. It was an awesome experience. I think it's a far stretch to ever see us make the World Cup like Jamaica, so in 1998 or Trinidad in 2006. But one day maybe Cayman will make it, and I'll be there with my flag in the front row for them.
I'm always rooting for Caribbean teams to make the World Cup because they're among the most fun fan bases at any World Cup. So you mentioned TNT in 2006. That was the first World Cup that I covered professionally. And I remember being in Cologne ahead of England TNT, which, by the way, TNT were incredible in that game.
Yeah.
And Peter Crouch hanging off the locks. Should have been a foul, was a goal. But there was full-blown carnival on the way to the stadium, and you can imagine what the German people, like they thought they were seeing something from another planet.
Well, there's the Soccer Warriors for you. There is that, and actually every World Cup, my team, I know people, obviously there's England as well, but I tend to look within the CONCACAF region, but to find someone. So I often support Honduras, Costa Rica. I've supported as well. I always buy their jerseys. I really like Honduras's jersey, by the way. It's solid. The German with the giant H here, it's very strong. Yeah, it is cool. But no, there's nothing like a reggae party. It's absolutely, and infused with reggaeton, all that music. It just, it makes you want to have a good time. So I'm not surprised you had a good time at a Trinidad and Tobago game.
I love it. I want to ask you about Drake Challenger. He recently wrote a poem for the club called "We Are the Sky."
Yeah.
The video went out, and it wasn't his voice. You guys chose to use a female voice, and I want to know a little bit about that. Obviously, I'm a female. I was a female in sports. I'm a female in the broadcast world. I'm all about like women going for it and pushing boundaries. So I want to know what the reasoning was behind the club making that decision.
Yeah, so I'm glad you've seen that. It's almost as impressive as your bronze medal, I think. No, it was a really important piece to all of us. And what I will say is the piece wouldn't have worked without Drake's writing. He's a phenomenal writer. And we wanted to do something, and there was it's a conflicted piece. It's hopeful, but it's slightly melancholic that the games aren't happening here. And for me, the female voice wasn't a choice to be made. It wasn't a decision because, Mother Nature, great vessels, these impressive things around us are female. And so, as I said in the article about it, it's something to be admired and respected, intimidated but approachable, or an authority but comforting. And all of that felt it just had to be a woman's voice. So it's nothing else. And so the team and I were just like, yeah, absolutely. And that's how we landed on it. And it was being really well received. And I think it's great that Inter Miami CF gave their stadium a female voice. I think it's important for the club to have that.
You sound almost like a marketing VP.
Yeah, well, almost. I'm hoping to get there one day soon. But I will categorically underscore again that Drake's writing is phenomenal, and he's had other pieces he's written, and without him, we just would never have conveyed the emotion we wanted. So that campaign really is credit to him. We were just lucky to be associated with it. And also credit to this rather beautiful stadium we have in the background.
Can we just talk, before we go anywhere, we need to just have a look at this stadium. It just feels surreal to me. We were shooting on couches weeks ago, and now we are in an absolutely stunning stadium. My favorite color is pink. I mean, the grass is immaculate. You're all right, Drake. It's nice to be in presence with you again.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction there. I thought we were going to talk about Drake Challenger for a minute because I'm so impressed by him, right? This is the football world and the world of art doesn't always, I think of football as art and footballers as artists. A lot of people don't, particularly in this country. It is seen as athleticism, it's seen as sport, it's seen as pastime. Whereas I think there's other cultures that do see it much more intertwined. Football arte in Brazil, for example. And I think here it is, it takes a certain level of bravery to be a poet and a professional footballer. And I think maybe Inter Miami is sort of setting the trend here because we've got not just one but two. Breck Shea is also an artist, a proper visual artist as well as a footballer.
No, he's a clothing designer, by the way. He just sent us the coolest matching dad and baby boy shorts for the pool. They're so cute. So yeah, he does both. He's an artist, clothing designer. He's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think, it's important. There's a lot of depth to all of our players, and it's important that we as a club show them beyond just the phenomenal athletes they are and the other sides to their personality. It also humanizes them in a way that helps make them feel approachable. These guys they're human beings. They're, fighter pilots as such in terms of athletes, but human beings, and everybody has other interests. And so I think it's nice that we were able to help amplify Drake's voice, and hopefully we'll be able to do it with other players who have interests. But you're right. Art, it's interesting. There's art, football, music, film, entertainment, gaming. It's all merging into one thing now under an umbrella of entertainment. So I think you'll see more and more of it coming. But yeah, absolutely. Inter Miami, we like to be first to do stuff.
I love love it. Well, Mike, it's an absolute pleasure having you on site. We need to cheers today.
Cheers.
You were the most interesting man in the world. I was not expecting your
thank
jersey
you.
collection.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm
You're
really
very
happy
interesting.
you had mine, because if you didn't, I honestly don't know if I'd want to see you around the stadium anymore.
Yeah, but low expectations too. High hopes and low expectations. No, it's been an absolute pleasure, and keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing the next episode when I'm not in it, because I probably won't watch it.
Yes, you will.
I'll watch it, of course I will.
Thank you everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned for another episode of OnSide coming very soon.
Cheers. Cheers.